What's up, guys? It's Duramax Brax here. I'm bringing you another video today, but this one I kind of screwed up on. So I was editing my video here, and if you know from the title, it's cat fuel filter adapter for my truck. And I was editing through it and I realized I forgot to shoot an intro. So yeah, this is a completely different day, long time passed, and here we are. So a little background, I had to change fuel filters and I decided that I was going to upgrade. It's something I've been toying with for a long time and finally decided today, today was the day. So I searched around and I got one from KB Diesel Performance. From what I read, theirs seemed to be the best and highest flow and all that. So I decided to go with them. I've had this kit on here for probably a month or so now and I have no qualms at all with it. As you can see, maybe there it is sitting in there, that yellow filter with the head spacer and the aluminum screw. It fits in there perfectly. Like I said, no issues with it at all so far, so I'm very happy. So in this video I'm going to show you kind of what it takes to put this thing on. Some of them are a lot simpler, a lot easier to put on. They're just basically screw them in and then screw the filter on them. This one's a little bit more in depth because you have to take the ball and spring out, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And that removes one more restriction out of it, so it makes it flow a little bit better and just makes it perform a little bit better. So why not? So yeah, stay tuned and enjoy. Alright guys, I'm out here now with the truck. If I sound a little weird or don't have it pointed perfectly, forgive me. I'm using the old GoPro. I don't want to get our good camera smelling like diesel, so that's that. So what we got here is we've got to take this fuel head off to install the new pieces. So we got to get this out of the way. We're going to leave the air box, but we need to get this tube out of the way, which means I got to take the lid off and get the filter out. So a little bit more aggravating with this, but and then from what the directions say, we're going to basically just do everything we have to take this off, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's not too difficult. Their directions are online, yeah, just following along with them. So I'll meet up with you guys when I get down to it. Alright, so at this point, we've gotten the intake out of the way. We can get down to it here. What they say to do is take these lines off. We're going to drain it kind of first, unplug this, and we're going to unplug the water and fuel sensor down here. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's kind of short, but it's right there on my finger. So we're going to unplug those two connections, and then there's two bolts on the back side of this housing here. Sorry, I know it's kind of hard to see, and I'm pretty sure that's all there is. I don't think there's four. I think there's only two. I don't know what size they are yet, but we're going to get those off and pull this whole housing off as one unit. But like I said, first we're going to drain it and yeah, go from there. Alright, so I've been fighting with this for a few minutes, and what I think I'm going to have to do is replace these fuel lines. KB Diesel, in their instructions, makes very clear that you want to be careful while pulling these off, that these, you have to reuse these lines and all. My truck has 330,000 miles almost on it, so I'm not surprised that these lines are hard. They're not coming off easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut them, run to Advance, get some new ones, and replace it with those, and basically just get through with this process as quick as I can. So you may have to do that if your truck's old and got old fuel lines, so just be prepared for that. But anyway, those bolts on there are 12 millimeter. Just take the two of those off and this whole filter head should just come right off, which is what we're going to try to do. So here we go with that. Alright, so that was a pain, but we've got it out. This is the whole assembly. We've got to take those hoses off, and then we're going to put, this is the kit, like I said, the spacer and the screw, the adapter, and then of course the new filter. So we're going to put all that on and then put it back on the truck. I got to go get fuel lines too. So we're going to take the water and fuel sensor out. We're going to zip tie up this line in the truck just so it's out of the way, and yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to it. So, fun. Alright, here's the only part where they say you actually have to do some modification. Right here you have to take these two T20 torque screws out, and then you're going to, once you get these out, you want them hang on to them, you don't want to throw them away. Take those two out, and this plastic piece should just pop right out. Helps if you unplug this first. Now you pull this off, and as you may have seen, what you're doing is you're removing this spring and ball in here, and what that is just a seal in there. And they remove it to take away the restriction that it causes. Get all that dirt and book out of there. They say it causes a restriction. Most pieces, most filter assemblies that replace this cat adapter, excuse me, just push this back. It's not needed anymore, and they just take it out as a just, you know, more flow. So it's not a bad thing. I'm really not sure what it's for in here as far as the stock application goes, but yeah. So once you get it back, once you get that out, you just put this back in the way it came out, making sure everything's plugged in good. Put those two T20 screws back in, and then we can go on with this process. Alright, next up is putting the adapter on. Now what I like to do is get a little bit of just leftover fuel or oil or whatever you can, and just slide on that O-ring, kind of lube it up a little bit, and then we take it. Oh, there's two O-rings, I'm sorry. There's an inner O-ring too. Well, I certainly hope hand tight's good enough, because I don't have a wrench big enough to get on here. I'm going to take this opportunity too to replace this screw with the aluminum one that they supplied. There it goes. It's definitely a poor design on GM's part to have a plastic screw. So for $10, it's worth the upgrade. Stick it in there. Now I'm leaving that loose because we still have to prime it, and it will oil itself when you prime it, so you don't have to worry about that O-ring as much. So when they sent this, they sent 4 bolts with it. Now 2 of them, if you can tell, are slightly longer. Those are the 2 you want to use. You want to make sure you get those 2 just so that there's enough room in here for this head spacer. Just a block, basically just fits like that. What you're going to do, I think anyway, the best way to do this is going to be to thread these in from the engine side. Just get them started, slide this down on top of it, and then tighten them up. This is just going to provide a little bit better access to it for when you're changing these filters. And if you have the longer filter, I think it's 751, then you want that. You have to have that for clearances. Now, once again, I'm going to lube these O-rings up using all this residual fuel I have in the back of my truck. Probably not the recommended way to do it, but hey, it works. And then, oh, I got to lube that one too. And then we're going to go ahead and slide this puppy on here. Now, a lot of people may ask, why use the cat fuel filter? You know, it doesn't have a water separator. That was my biggest worry on it. But in looking at the forums and things like that, the GM, their stock water separator, it ain't that great anyway. This is a, I think either a 2 or 3 micron filter. That's a 10, so it's much better filter. It flows, I think, even higher than that one, so it's just a better filter overall, and it's also a lot cheaper to replace. So we're going to go get new fuel lines, and then we're going to drop this thing back in the engine bay and go from there. Alright guys, so I got this filter back on, just kind of loosely on there, just showing you how this is done. I had to loosen this with a 13 millimeter, I believe it was, just this this heater line, excuse me, right here to get this bolt in from the backside because it's so long. But like I said, you just kind of want to get these loose on there. You can see it's just kind of dangling on there. And then I'm going to take this billet aluminum piece right here and just slide it in between it. That's your spacer. And I'm just going to tighten those on down a long way. Now, in case you've never done it, the bleeding process on these is simple. You just loosen the screw right here. That new screw that we've got, you just make sure it's good and loose. You don't take it out, and then you just pump this until there we go. Till you get fuel bubbling out of there. Then you tighten this down like so. And that's it. That's all there is to changing a fuel filter. Now we're going to throw the intake back on this thing and start it up. Alright, we got everything back together. Let's start it up and see how it goes. Everything went good, nothing too bad to complain about. Those bolts seem a little long, but they do tighten up, they snug up, didn't break anything, so that's good. Like I said, check out KB Diesel Performance. Look them up on Instagram, check out their website. They had the best price on these kits that I found, and it was all inclusive. They took that ball valve out of there. They said that, you know, it helped flow better, and I took a chance on them. I hadn't heard their name too much, but thought I'd try it. So that's that. Don't forget, reset your fuel filter life if you got it. On these trucks, if you have the steering wheel controls like mine, even though the lights are all out on them, you just go over to scroll over till it says fuel filter life, and then just hold the enter button and it resets. If you don't have these, anyway, that's all there is to it. If you enjoyed this, please like the video and subscribe. Definitely helps out the channel. I'm going to take it for a test run. If you see me again, obviously something's gone wrong. But like I said, please like the video and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram. I update a lot of stuff on there. And until next time, guys, take it easy.